Well, down there in Delaware, lawmakers are considering two different bills of what they want to do with cannabis. It seems like they're unsure what they want to do, and I guess there's a lot of speculation, people talking. One proposal would move intoxicating hemp products into dispensaries, right?
Okay.
And then it would be regulated through the dispensaries. And the other bill is saying, no, we can continue to sell them where they're being sold, but we need to implement these new rules to follow up on. So if it's moved into the licensed marijuana market, it could only be sold in the cannabis dispensaries, and otherwise you could continue to sell it in the smoke shops, convenience stores, and whatnot. But really, what the lawmakers are really trying to do is just make sure kids can't get it, make sure underage people can't get it, maintain product safety and checking the products to make sure they have the exact amount of whatever in them, make sure they're clean, labeled,
Sounds like it might be a little fight on the hand on those choices.
Well, there
It could be, but I kind of get the feeling like everyone's sort of on the same page. It's just, how are we going to implement it?
Well, I think here's the bigger mess, and I'll dump. And this is a conversation that Claudia and I had in great detail, during our record session yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good in it. First of all, the way Congress handled, the middle of the night during a shutdown, stuck it in a reopening, and basically canceled hemp out as it currently stands. It's a really weak way of going about it. It's definitely typical congressional, sly-handed,
Right.
behind the scenes shit that we all have seen in the past. But now it kind of hit home on this one. So you have that element. Then you've got the element of the unfair nature that hemp presents, excuse me, guys, to licensed dispensaries. They are the ones who spent the money. They're the ones who go through regulatory.
Right.
They're the ones who have invested and had waited and waited and waited, and yet some of the bigger sales are all coming through drinks that they don't have access to. So then there's that. I'm not a big hemp fan. It's not something that I personally love, but I do love one part about hemp, and specifically the drinks. It opened up a lot of people their minds to the fact that this is not terrible. It's not the
Right.
things that we have on our walls here. It's not the devil's lettuce. It's basically something that can help them not drink alcohol, and I think that that's a great thing.
It's a great thing.
And
Yeah.
and having it accessible in stores like supermarkets or a convenience store makes it very easy for the non-cannabis person to make basically what is in essence a cannabis purchase.
Yeah.
So, it really is a catch-22. And now the mess is that I don't think Congress is going to come save this in the last 11th hour. So I don't think that's going to happen. And I think it's now going to be left upon state by state to determine what are they going to do. So you have an industry and a lot of people who work for an industry who are hanging on the ability of individual states to make a decision on what to do with this. And if they don't do anything, from what I understand, it's going to defer back to the dispensary system. And so what's going to happen is the hemp drinks that you're accustomed to could potentially be sold at a dispensary. And then that brings up the bigger question of, will the person who bought it at the supermarket actually go to dispensary buy it?
Exactly.
I say no.
It's going to hurt sales.
It's gonna
so
kill-
that's to me that's
Yeah.
the biggest part of the controversy with this issue is the point of sales, and also what we didn't want to do is have things legal and go through a liquor system.
Right, exactly.
Well, we're living in a tumultuous time.
Kyle, what do you think?
I think it was a great boon, definitely for the liquor stores. I mean, being in New Jersey, I was seeing every liquor store start to really curate a great hemp section. I think that was really wonderful for people who were trying to get away from alcohol, seeing an alternative there. My opinion on hemp was I think it was a smart move for businesses who were not in a legal state to, again, open up the culture to cannabis, to have
Yeah.
something, quote, legal for the people to have access to. Again, the smart players in the California cannabis scene quickly pivoted to a hemp brand. They're like, hey, I'm not making money in California, but people love my brand. Maybe let me pivot to hemp, start spreading awareness about me in all these other states. And when I can get a legal license there, they'll already be familiar with my brand. I've built a community and can now turn on the THC, the dispensary weed and
Right
everything
on.
like that. So there was some smart plays to it. Again, I think it opens up the broader conversation of what some of these cannabis growers are getting frustrated by is all people know is THC percentages, right? We want to see some of these other cannabinoids like the THCA, THCV, some of these other cannabinoids that are really the medicine, open up. We want everyone to stop asking, just give me that 40% THC
Right.
strain. Let me find something with a better terpene profile, maybe some other cannabinoids that are more active in there. And again, if you were a smart hemp brand, you've built up your community thus far. Now pivot to kind of the cannabis system, and your community will follow.
And it's funny that some pivoted, like you said, California folks pivoted to hemp, and now will most likely pivot back to straight cannabis. It's so damn interesting to see how this whole thing is kind of shaking out. It really is wild.
I think, like the gas station type stores with the hemp products, basically saying we're here to stay was proliferated, right? Hard to handle, not fair, and they're trying to work something out. They're not going away. They're trying to compromise and we'll see where it lands.
I don't like people who say it's not fair. If you're a good brand, people are going to stick by you and support your business. And, you don't need to be taking other people down because you feel slighted.
Right.
Like, just stay focused on what you're building, build up your community.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
Well,
and
we'll
that
have to watch and see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, it is. It's a very interesting situation. There's a lot of dollars on the line. There's a lot of people who are employed, throughout, through the hemp industry. It really is. I find this it's kind of like a dilemma. It's a kind of a catch-22. There's a good side to this. There's a bad side to it, and I guess we'll just have to see how things shake out.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
That's what we can
And I'll
do.
report on it when it happens.
Well, of course, Bill.
All right, Bill, what you got for us?
I
What
got
else you
another story for you, and it's another hemp story, and I hope you enjoy it. This one we go to New Jersey. They've approved a bill allowing large hemp THC drinks in liquor stores. Now, by large, they're not actually talking about large, but they are talking about bigger.
Like 1 liter bottles.
Yeah, exactly. So the bill would allow bottles containing up to 200 milligrams of THC under certain
Oh, wow.
rules. Yeah, hopefully that's kind of a bigger bottle. So I think like right now you can get a soda can sized serving in Jersey.
What's the name of that brand in the 1 liter? It looks like a champagne bottle. It's a
Are
hemp
we
drink.
talking size, or are we talking how much is infused in there? Because right
Well, the
now
200
only popular
milligrams
is
is-
5 milligram,
it's
maybe
two
10 milligram drinks.
No, it's a 200 milligram 1 liter bottle is what it is. And what I find interesting is that, because New Jersey chose to have like an earlier cutoff date than the November, they now, because of pressure and because of these industries leaning on them, they now, and the people who sell them, let's not forget the people who are making money selling them as well, they're saying we need to have legislation put in place right now that gets us to November. So they literally just spent a bunch of time in their legislative putting together a bill, and they approve it just to get them to November, which doesn't necessarily solve anything. It just keeps this thing flowing. What it does is it shows you that this isn't going away. Like one way or another, this isn't going away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting breakthrough. I've seen these bottles. They're 1 liter. They kind of look. I can't remember the damn
Is this
name.
an actual brand down here you're showing?
This one here?
Yeah,
No.
in the graphic.
No, I don't think
No,
that's
okay.
no. But there are these 1 liter bottles that have 200 milligrams, and so I think, it sounds to me like some legislation got written for a very specific category, is what it looks like, and I just wonder what it took for them to get the legislative to move like that. That's kind of interesting.
Don't know, but I feel like going to Jersey and see what I can get.
Yeah, yeah, there you go, Bill.
All right, our next story is that Congress is very unlikely to stop the federal hemp ban, which is coming in November.
They're not going to save this.
I don't think they are.
Nope.
It's expected the law is going to go in November of 2026. It changes the definition of legal hemp and places extremely low THC limits on products. Industry groups are warning this is going to knock out 90 to 95% of the current hemp industry. It's a huge industry.
It's definitely going to hurt.
Well, these guys should pivot to industrial hemp. Again, people sort of lost focus. I feel the hemp should be used for clothing and housing
right.
materials, and start growing it for the industrial stuff.
Which is what
Again,
the
I always
whole-
felt a lot of these hemp guys, quickly jumped to mushroom products when that was hot for a second. The Amanita, infused things. A lot of these guys, again, aren't actual cannabis operators. They just saw another quick way to make money. They'll pivot to one of these other legal substances that they could hustle at the gas stations, whether that's, the Blue Lotus, or again, Amanita mushroom products, or some of these other herbs that have a psychedelic effect that are quote legal, So again, trust me, these guys know how to pivot to the next thing.
Oh, good.
And I think, the other thing that I want to mention too is that I think hemp has kind of shown what deregulation looks like. Because when you can operate across 50 states and you can use economy to scale to make products and market products, and you're not limited by one state, nor are you limited to, if you are a multi-state, you've got a license in each one, and you've got heavy regulation. These guys had no regulation. So what does no regulation almost look like? And you can operate in 50 states? That's what it looks like. It's like an industry that formed in, call it 24 months. Right in front of our face.
It's really impressive how quickly it happened.
And it shows you, I think it's a crystal ball insight view as to what can happen if they just get off their horse with cannabis, because it's ready to go. Like this is the hemp industry proved what they can do. And what Kyle said about the industrial uses, that's what the original, what was it, 2017 or 2018 hemp farm bill, that's what it was designed for. It was so you could start to grow and use it for the industrial application, the clothing, the ropes, and all the things that you can do with hemp.
I think, didn't Harlem Reporter just read off like an entire list, 50 or 60 different applications for hemp?
Can he read 50 or 60?
Oh yeah, there's hempcrete now that needs to get scaled up. We're building cheap housing with the hempcrete. Hemp is a great insulator. Fireproof, mold-proof.
Right.
Anti-bug resistant. Great stuff. And yeah, the hemp clothing. We're still a long way away from getting that really scaled up and making it cheap for everybody.
Right on. All right, Bill. Enough with this hemp. What